welcome once again to this channel, African Science and Tech Review. In the last episode, we considered duality in nature and introduced some mathematical principles that justify duality in nature. In particular, we considered the minimization as a particular concept in operation research, and the concept of minimum point. When we talk about, the first derivative must be 0, and then when we talk about, first of all, we talk about the optimum point when the first derivative is 0. But with respect to minimum points, we consider the second derivative, d squared y the x squared, and we said in that particular case, the d squared y the x squared will be greater than 0. Today, we want to continue our discussion with respect to the mathematical principles, our scientific principles, principles in science, and related areas which justify duality. We are going to start with maximization problems, maximization points. In this particular case, the d squared y the x squared will be less than 0. Then we are going to juxtapose minimization with maximization, and then we are going to consider the concept of duality, the duality theorem, which is a very important theorem in optimization in operations research. And then we are going to end by considering the concept of cause and effect in nature. We need to take note that mathematics is very important in nature, because mathematics is an exact science, and apart from that, it is not a joke that mathematics is called the queen of science. In mathematics, the method you are using is very, very important, and there could be so many paths to getting the solution to a problem. No one will ordinarily ask you to use a particular method, but as long as you are consistent and your method is okay, is justifiable from one state to the other, then your method is acceptable. And we hope that with that, mathematics stands as a good model of how the world is supposed to be, because as wide and as complex as this world is, it may be out of order for people not to be tolerant of others' views or others' opinions, because there will always be so many ways to get the answers to the challenges and the problems of the universe. Please stay tuned as we continue with maximization and end this series with respect to consideration of duality in nature. You are welcome to this channel. Thank you very much. Single maximum point. Just as we observed when we were considering the minimum point in the last episode, with respect to the maximum point, this is the point. You can see that this point, you can have the value of x here, and you have a single value for y. And unlike the minimum point, when we said that the second derivative, d squared y the x squared is greater than 0, with respect to maximum point, the d squared y the x squared will be less than 0. So that is the defining characteristic of a maximum point, d squared y the x squared less than 0, unlike the minimum point that we considered in the last episode, where this sign is the greater than sign. That is, the y squared, d squared y the x squared was greater than 0. That was in the minimum point. And just like the minimum point too, we can see that we have several points here, several maximum points. This is a point, x point, x point, x point, x point. So we have several x points corresponding to a single y points. So that's why we say we have many maximum points. And of course, y prime prime, which is this squared y all over the s squared, which is also x prime prime x, is less than 0. This is our x-axis, this is our y-axis, this is the 0. Of course, if we go beyond this 0 to the leftmost side, we are going to have the negative values. And if we go down beneath this 0, we are going to have the negative values of y. So negative values of x here, negative values of y here. But we didn't consider the negative values in this particular illustration. And then we can see the symmetry of minimum, maximum point. We just decided to have a single figure where we can really see and juxtapose the maximum point with the minimum point. A simple illustration would be to just draw a circle, as we have done like this, and then you divide or partition the circle, maybe from the circumference, into two. So you can see the first half here is showing the curve for the maximum point, and the second curve down beneath the symmetry line, we can have the minimum point. So that is what this particular diagram is. Of course, we have the x, y, 0. And then we now look at a very important theorem in operation research, stroke optimization theory, and it's called the duality theorem. It's a very particular important theorem in the sense that when I formulate an operation research problem, an optimization problem, where I'm going to have a function that I'm going to maximize or minimize, subject to some constraints. You leave the constraints, and then you have the non-negativity conditions. Your x should not be less than 0, so to say, or must be greater than or equal to 0. So, you have the original problem that you have. Maybe the problem is to maximize a particular function. So when you apply the duality theorem, instead of maximizing, you are going to minimize the problem. And all the constraints will change with respect to the values. The values more or less like interchanging the values of the resulting matrices. So the duality theorem enables us to move from, say, a maximum problem to a minimum problem, or a minimum problem to a maximum problem. It's a very important theorem in optimization theory and operations research. So we want to move forward to now consider a principle incorporating duality. We should be reminded that we are considering duality in nature, and in this particular episode we are looking at maximization in particular, and some related concepts. Some related concepts with respect to duality in nature. And that's why we have considered the duality theorem here. We now want to consider the concept of cause and effect in nature. It's a popular concept, especially in philosophy. This is an action. Whatever action we perform in the world, in the universe, there will be a cause and there is an effect. It's possible you know the cause of an action, but you don't know the effect. It's possible you know the effect, but you don't know the cause. But the cause-effect duality principle enables us to investigate phenomena which ordinarily we might not be in a good position to investigate, maybe based on limitation of the problem, based on peculiarity of the problem, and so on and so forth. So the duality with respect to cause-effect makes us to, embark on what can be regarded like a model. If I have an effect of a phenomenon, I can actually investigate the cause. The cause can help me to know what really happened, the action that was taken. So I can investigate the effect to know the action and the cause. I can investigate the cause to know the effect and the action. So sometimes you have the opportunity to know the effect of a phenomenon, but you don't know the cause. So because of this duality, you can move and investigate the cause. Just like in modeling, where you are allowed to just look at similarities, peculiarities, or phenomena that are close enough to what you are trying to investigate. So the duality principle enables us to do that. So for every action in the universe, there will be a cause and there will be an effect. It's an elementary principle. It's possible we don't know the cause. It's possible we don't know the effect. But if we know either of the two, we can investigate either of the two. So we want to move further to consider the cause and effect as physical and non-physical phenomena. We just want to use this table to investigate, to link physical phenomena with non-physical phenomena. And of course, we have just used a simple terminology, non-physical. The non-physical could mean metaphysical, it could mean spiritual, depending on where we are in terms of our ideology, in terms of what we believe in life. Remember, this channel is on the knowledge basis, science, theology, and philosophy, and the interrelationship among them. And we have said that for whatsoever episode we are considering, we can focus solely on science, we can focus solely on theology, we can focus solely on philosophy, or we can combine theology and philosophy in an episode, or theology and science in an episode, or philosophy and science in an episode, or all the three in an episode. So we are seeing a manifestation of the combination of two or more of the three knowledge bases in an episode. This is purely science, and then we are introducing what looks like philosophy here. And of course, when we talk about the non-physical phenomena, we are talking about theology, so to say. So we can see the cause. The cause is on the horizontal line, and then the effect we have here. So you can either have, when the cause is physical, a physical cause can bring forth a physical effect. A physical cause can bring forth a non-physical effect. A non-physical cause can bring forth a physical effect. A non-physical cause can bring forth a non-physical effect. So that is what we have. That generalizes all the possibilities that we can have with respect to all our activities in the universe, irrespective of what our belief is, with respect to science, our belief is with respect to theology, our belief is with respect to philosophy. And we want to consider simple examples here, just for us to have a glimpse of what we are talking about with respect to the cause-effect phenomena. We are talking about the cause and effect, physical, just like we had here. We are talking about what we had here. Okay, and we are trying to give an example. You can see physical force exerted on an object. And it could be a solid, it could be a liquid, or it could be a gas. So you have a cause, a physical force, which is the cause, and then you are exerting it on an object. When you, just like Newton's law of motion, when you apply a force on a body at rest, the body is going to move. Okay? And then, of course, with respect to all the principles of mechanics. So when you apply force on an object, whether it's a solid, whether it's a liquid, whether it's a gas, you expect to have a corresponding motion. You know, action and reaction are equal and opposite. That's Newton's law, one of the three Newton laws of motion. Then we look at the second one. We have a physical cause, okay, and a non-physical cause, effect. So we can see an example we have considered here. We said physical force, okay, e.g., whipping to exorcise evil spirits. What do we mean by that? Remember, we are just considering possible examples. There are some beliefs, some practices where they believe that if someone is for those who believe in spirits, in non-physical beings, that if you want to exorcise or you want to remove spirits from a being, say a human being, that you can use some forces, like whipping the person concerned, whipping the being, and that by so doing, the spirit in that person is going to leave. Some people even use that to treat, mental patients and so on and so forth. So it's still part of the beliefs of humans. Whether they are right or whether they are wrong, in the course of this channel, we will see. But the fact still remains that whatsoever beliefs people stick to, they have their own reasons, their own way. Now for us to say whether the reasons they are giving is justifiable or it's not justifiable. And even with that, except we use the principles in science, in theology, and philosophy to examine, we might find it difficult to really arrive at a unison with respect to what we are expecting. So let's look at the third one. We have the non-physical and the physical. The non-physical cause bringing a physical effect. And we are using the example of prayer. Okay? You want to pray to bring about a physical manifestation. For those who believe in prayer, that, if I pray, that, the supreme being of God should send someone to me during the week to come and assist me to bring money or something. They believe that it will come to pass one way or the other. The prayer, he said, is like you are exerting some causal forces in the air. It's a force you are exerting which we consider to be non-physical. Even though you are using your mouth to pray, you want to actually direct some spirits existing to assist you to touch some souls who will assist in bringing the request to you. So that is an example of non-physical cause bringing forth a physical cause. When you pray, to bring forth a physical manifestation. And last but not the least, the non-physical cause bringing forth a non-physical effect. So we can see still the same thing. You pray to bring about a metaphysical manifestation. You keep on praying, and then you praying, and you are hoping that what you are going to get back is not going to necessarily be something physical, but something that is metaphysical. That probably in your spirit you will know that yes, I have received the answer to this, my prayer. So that is the example that we have considered. And then we can see that duality is really very important in the whole of the universe, in science, and in theology, and in philosophy. We believe you have enjoyed this particular episode, which is the concluding part on duality in nature, where we examine the mathematical principles and related phenomena as per duality in nature. Please stay tuned. In the next episode, we are going to consider another interesting phenomenon in nature, and we are going to dissect it vis-a-vis the three knowledge bases: science, theology, and philosophy. We encourage you to send in your comments. We encourage you to share your views with us, and we will encourage you to stay with us, to stay tuned with us, so that the status of this channel will be enhanced. Thank you very much. Until the next episode, in the next couple of days, we appreciate you for staying tuned to this channel. Thank you very much.